For generations, the word woman meant something specific. It named half the human race, a group that fought through centuries of legal, social, and economic exclusion just to be heard, to vote, to own property, and to be seen as full human beings rather than the property of men. The category of woman was never just a philosophical concept. It was a material reality forged in the fires of shared biological vulnerability. It was built around reproductive capacity, maternal care, historical oppression, and the physical realities of the female life cycle. The category of woman was never just a philosophical concept. It was a material reality forged in the fires of shared biological vulnerability. It was built around reproductive capacity, maternal care, historical oppression, and the physical realities of the female life cycle. The World Health Organization, WHO, acknowledges that sex refers to the different biological and physiological characteristics of males and females, such as chromosomes, hormone levels, and reproductive anatomy, while gender refers to socially constructed roles and identities. Critics and policy analysts argue that blurring these lines in legal definitions undermines targeted healthcare and sex-specific data collection. Government policy shift. Across various Western democracies, self-identification laws have replaced biological verification for legal gender markers, bypassing medical or psychological diagnosis. Picture this: Maya, a lifelong runner who woke up at 5 a.m. every day for 12 years, balancing grueling training blocks with university studies. In lane 4 stands an athlete who underwent male puberty, retaining a 12% advantage in hemoglobin levels, greater cardiac output, and a denser skeletal frame. Maya finishes 4th, missing the national qualifying time by 0.3 seconds. The podium features 3 athletes who went through male development. When Maya speaks out anonymously, fearing academic blacklisting, she is told that inclusion supersedes fairness. Male puberty confers durable, lifelong physiological advantages. Bone architecture, heart size, lung capacity, and fast-twitch muscle retention do not vanish with a temporary suppression of testosterone. When policy ignores developmental biology, women's sport ceases to be a protected category and becomes an open class where females are systematically displaced. Global sports governance. Organizations like World Athletics, FINA, World Aquatics, and the International Cycling Union, UCI, have increasingly restricted open female categories to those with developmental female biology, citing peer-reviewed studies proving that hormone suppression alone does not eliminate male athletic advantages. Picture this: a metropolitan women's emergency shelter providing refuge for survivors of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Under administrative mandates prioritizing gender identity inclusivity over biological sex, the shelter is required to house any individual identifying as a woman, regardless of legal or physical transition status. Several trauma survivors express acute distress, panic attacks, and a refusal to use communal sleeping and bathing areas in the presence of biological males. When counselors raise safety concerns with management, they face disciplinary action for non-compliance with inclusivity guidelines. Vulnerable women walk away from the one place designed to protect them, choosing homelessness over compromised safety boundaries. The UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women has repeatedly emphasized that single-sex spaces, prisons, domestic violence shelters, changing rooms, and rape crisis centers are foundational human rights tools necessary to protect women and girls from male violence and ensure psychological safety. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 3, guarantees the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Legal scholars argue that stripping away sex-segregated spaces directly compromises the bodily autonomy and safety of women and children. Picture this: a family counseling office where a 14-year-old girl, struggling with severe body dysmorphia, social anxiety, and peer isolation, announces she is in the wrong body. Rather than exploring underlying trauma, neurodivergence, such as autism, which disproportionately affects young girls presenting with sudden gender distress, or adolescent identity crises, clinical guidelines in some jurisdictions fast-track social transition, puberty blockers, and cross-sex hormones. Studies tracking adolescent DESI stance show that a vast majority of gender-distressed children grow to comfortable acceptance of their biological bodies if allowed to pass through natural puberty without medical intervention. The Cass Review, UK National Health Service led by Dr. Hilary Cass, this landmark independent review found that the evidence base for pediatric gender interventions was remarkably weak, urging extreme caution, holistic mental health evaluation, and a halt to unproven clinical pathways for minors. European policy shifts. Countries such as Sweden, Finland, and the United Kingdom have drastically restricted youth gender transition medicalization, prioritizing psychotherapy and recognizing that children lack the developmental capacity to consent to irreversible medical pathways. None of this requires cruelty toward trans people as individuals. Every human being deserves dignity, safety, and freedom from harassment. But empathy cannot require us to deny objective material reality. When we pretend that sex and gender identity are interchangeable, we do not create a more inclusive world. We owe women specifically a fair race, a private space, trauma-informed sanctuary, and a vocabulary that names half the human race. A woman's life is not merely a feeling adopted partway through. It is the specific, cumulative, biological, and social experience of having always been read, raised, and treated as female. When we lose the ability to name that as distinct, we lose the ability to protect what was built because of it. Biology still matters, and protecting women and children is not negotiable. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Stay sovereign, and I will see you in the next episode.